Hey there, everyone. It's me, Genevieve. I am really glad to see you all, and I'm glad you're joining to listen to today's Sunday school lesson. This lesson is designed for elementary age kids, but parents and caregivers and brothers and sisters, please listen along. So the first thing I want us to do is take a deep breath together. Get our feet on the ground, get our wiggles in our bodies, and breathe those wiggles out. They go pretty far. Want to do it again? We can feel ourselves settle down. Get ready to put on our listening ears to hear our story, to think our thoughts, to feel our feelings, and to share with one another. So I have a question to start, which is, what do you dream about in your loveliest dreams? You can even pause right here, and if you're with someone, why don't you share some of your loveliest dreams with each other? And then once you've kind of thought about your loveliest dream, something really lovely and nice happening to you, I want you to remember a time when maybe something, either in a dream, maybe in a dream, was like not so nice. Like someone messed up something you were working on, or you didn't get invited to a party you wanted to go to, or maybe someone had to say no to something that you really wanted to do, but you didn't get to do. Can you think of a time like that? And can you think of how it made you feel? Maybe angry, maybe sad, maybe hurt or lonely. Take a second and you can pause again and talk to the person next to you and see if you can think about a time and think about how it made you feel when that happened. And then now I want you to ask yourself, do you still feel bad or angry or sad or anything about that thing that happened? Does it still feel pretty gross? If so, you might have some forgiveness work to do. And that's what we're going to talk about today. So we talked about your loveliest dream. I wonder if you can imagine what God's loveliest dream might be. There's someone who did imagine that. His name is Desmond Tutu. So Desmond Tutu, he grew up in a world that was very unfair. And here is his story. So, Desmond Tutu thinks that God dreams about people sharing, people caring. God dreams that we reach out and hold one another's hands and play one another's games and love one another's hearts. But God does not force us to be friends or love one another. It does not happen that we get angry and hurt one another. As soon as we start to feel sad and so very alone, sometimes we cry and God cries with us. But when we say we're sorry and forgive one another, we wipe away our tears and God's tears too. God dreams that we will see that we're all brothers and sisters, even if we have different mommies and daddies that live in faraway lands. Do you know how to make God's dream come true? It's really quite easy. As easy as sharing love, caring, as easy as holding, playing, laughing, as easy as knowing we're family, because we're all God's family, no matter who we are, no matter how we look, no matter where we live. Desmond Tutu really knows how important it is to care, share, and forgive, because he grew up in a country where people really didn't do that. When he was a child in South Africa, white people didn't treat Black people fairly. They treated them really badly. They took away their land. They didn't let them vote. They didn't let them go to the same schools or learn the same things as white people. But Desmond Tutu grew up in a loving home where all people were respected. He said, I never learned to hate. When he was older, he became a priest, and he spoke out against the unfair things that were happening to Black people. It took many, many years, but finally South Africa ended the unjust laws, and they even elected a Black president. But people still felt hurt and angry. Their hearts were frozen and filled with memories of all the bad things that had happened in the past. They needed to forgive, but it was so hard. It's so hard to forgive, and they needed some help. Desmond Tutu helped them. He and others gave them places where they could meet and share their stories about what happened. The people who had been hurt explained what had happened to them and asked, why did you do this? The people who had done bad things had the chance to say, I'm sorry, how can I help? They talked and listened to one another, and then the ones who were hurt could choose to forgive. Even though it was really hard, many of them made that choice. Desmond Tutu encouraged them to forgive. He wrote books about forgiveness for adults and children. One of his books is called God's Dream. Another is called The Children of God Storybook Bible. And there's a story in it about Joseph from the Old Testament. I'm going to let your caregiver or parent read you this story. You can either pause and read it right now, or you can look it up and read it later. But it has a lot to do with forgiveness. It's in Genesis 50, 15 to 21. And the story of Joseph, just really quick, basically, his brothers were very jealous of him. He had lots of brothers, Joseph did. And they sold him into slavery to work for the Pharaoh. It was pretty bad conditions for Joseph. He suffered a lot. But over time, through his own skill and God's help, he came to be a pretty powerful guy. He was in the Pharaoh's court, and his brothers one day came to him for help without knowing who he was. And do you know what Joseph did? In that moment, he could have sent his brothers out. He could have taken that anger that he felt about what they did to him and said, I'm not going to help you at all. But he did exactly the opposite. Joseph forgave. He gave them anything they needed, and he threw his arms around them and said, I love you. In this story and in Desmond Tutu's life, the point is that their love is stronger than their anger or their hate. Now, sometimes there are things in life where it is wrong what someone has done. And in those situations, we really do need to get help from a grown-up that we trust. If someone's being hurt or if someone is being threatened, those are situations where we can maybe think about forgiveness later, but we need to get safe first. And those bad feelings that we feel when something bad happens to us make sense, right? When you're angry, it's usually because something's wrong. So it's okay to be angry. But what can happen is sometimes we hold on to that anger and we have a really hard time forgiving, letting that anger go. And why do we forgive? We forgive not for the other person, but for ourselves. Imagine again that thing that we started with that made you really mad or sad, something that really hurt. I want you to hold on tight to it. Keep going. Stay in that feeling. Okay, take a deep breath. Do you notice how different it is when you're holding on tight to one of those feelings and when you let them go? Better for you. We don't forgive for the other person. We forgive for ourselves. So how do we forgive? We're going to look at that story with Joseph about that. Here's the word give. And this is how you can remember how to forgive. See the word give? We just add a S-O-R. We forgive by giving. It's a choice. It's a lot of work to forgive. We have to try to find something nice to do for that person or think about it from their perspective. That's how we forgive, is by giving. And when we forgive, we create a new beginning, a new opportunity. All those tight feelings, all that anger or sadness or hurt that we felt, once we give it and we respond in kindness and love, we create a clean slate from which we can start a new relationship. We can give another chance for connection and for love. When we forgive, our love is stronger than our anger. So let's end by doing our affirmation together. We'll do it 3 times. I'm going to say it once, and then I want you to try to say it with me the next 2 times. What I believe in my heart is what I show in my actions. Say it again. Say it with me. What I believe in my heart is what I show in my actions. Do it again. What I believe in my heart is what I show in my actions. I'm going to end by reading this quote from Desmond Tutu, and I encourage you to go and learn more about him. He's an amazing man. Here is the quote. Forgiving isn't forgetting. It's actually remembering. Remembering and not using your right to hit back. I hope that you can choose forgiveness. I hope that you have grown-ups around who can help you do that. And I hope that you are all safe and loving. I can't wait to see you again someday soon. Bye now.